Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Your Money, Your Life podcast. We are on episode 292 of the podcast. So make sure wherever you're listening, you like, subscribe, 5-star rate and review this podcast. We do this every week. Let's get into it. Let's get into the market update first and foremost. The market, what is the market telling us? What should we be aware of? Those are the major things that we want to look at to start the market update. First thing we're doing is looking at the chart. The chart so far for the past week, would like to dive into the week first because it gives us a chance to look at the past 5 business days or trading days. Um, and we're about flat right now. We're about flat in the past 5 days, down 0.27%, which is essentially, again, like I said, around flat. We'll see where we land today as the market is green and positive today, but we don't know where that will land so far. So, what is driving it right now? The broader market up today, there was a payrolls report showing an increase of 54,000 jobs in August. Economists polled by Dow Jones expected 75,000 private employer jobs to be added in August, which was last month. The figure was also less than the revised figure of 106,000. So that in July. So we're seeing the job market tighten. The reaction was limited with that job market tightening. There was some more data showing that there was more people looking for a job than job openings the first time since 2021 that happened. So people are starting to see, is there tightening signs in the market? Let's look at that report. Hiring-based U.S. companies fell by half in August. Hiring by U.S.-based companies fell by half in August, more than expected, amid accumulating signs that the labor market has softened. Private employers added 54,000 payrolls, ADP said. So again, that's just more. That's the same thing being reiterated that there's slowing in August. So that's a big thing. I'm really actually wondering about the tightening of the labor market, if that's going to be one of the linchpins in this economy for a slower time. Jobless claims also increased. That's another bad time for the job market. These reports came ahead of Friday's big report, so there's going to be a big report on jobs on Friday that is expected to show 75,000 non-farm payroll gains for last month, according to economists polled by Dow Jones. So there's mixed sessions so far this past week. There's been mixed trading sessions, meaning positive days, not so positive days, but in general, we're about flat. So that's what we're seeing. There's not much craziness in the market. There's not earnings right now or any big earnings that we're looking for. There's no Fed movement right now. We'll see what the Fed does in a little bit, but that's probably why summer and September are essentially a lot of usually slower trading times for the market. People go on vacation, September, people back to school, all these different things. All that matters is that these are usually slower times for the market, so nothing crazy there. If we go back to the chart, 6 month basis, we're up 13% year to date, 9.5% roughly up positive. So again, nothing crazy, just showing that things are trugging along through the first 9 months, 8 months of the market of this year. And that's positive signs. That's positive signs. Let's go to business stories for the week. The New York Giants are going to sell a stake to the Koch. The New York Giants have agreed to sell a minority stake to the billionaire Koch family in a deal that could drive the team's valuation past 10 billion. Bloomberg reports the deal is finalized. Julia Koch and other members of the family could own as much as 10% of the franchise. Investments from private equity funds in combination with money making media rights deals have pushed the value of NFL teams sky high in recent years. So, if I'm not mistaken, the Koch family is who is no, that's the Waltons. So, the Koch family is just another really wealthy family. I forget where their wealth comes from, the business, I should say. But they're acquiring roughly 10% of the New York Giants, which is actually a huge move. Um, so that's a really big deal. It's probably roughly around $1 billion that they're investing to get that 10% stake of a $10 billion valuation. You can do the math to see why. But that's interesting. You're seeing different private equity money flow into, sports teams. And it's just right in this article, in this blurb, it says the values of teams have skyrocketed because of media rights. The ability to stream, put NFL games, put Giants games or whatever team on TV is an expensive business. You have to buy those rights. And those rights are bought so that they can put advertisements between in these games because a lot of people watch these games, right? We're kicking out the NFL season tonight with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people, millions of people are going to be watching that game on Thursday Night Football, the first game of the year, kick off the 2025 2026 season. So, really, really interesting. I'm really curious to see how that goes and to see more deals happen down the line. The Tesla Robo-Taxi app is now available for download. The electric car maker inches closer to its goal of widespread autonomous service. The company announced availability in X Posts, which took users to a waitlist. The app is currently only available to Apple users, according to the Business Insider. Shows service maps for Austin, Texas, and San Francisco. So they're just in Austin and San Fran. Texas launches robotaxi service primarily for investors and influencers in Austin in June. The company still faces regulatory hurdles and has been beset by safety issues. Oh, interesting. So, okay, they're launching. You have Waymo, which I've used a few times in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I know Austin and San Fran are, kind of the leaders when it comes to allowing robo taxis on the road. And Tesla's next. They're saying this was supposed to be here for a long time. They were supposed to have this launched many years back, and like that's what they were predicting. The delays happened, and now it's being launched. So they are going to have their robo taxis on the road, and they're starting in Austin, Texas, and San Fran. They're allowing the app to be available for download, and it's going to be more of a thing. We've talked about your kids may not need driver's license. Your kids certainly may not need driver's license as we see the advent of robo taxis, which I'm a proponent of. I could see the benefit of just riding in a vehicle versus having to always drive. Why not? If, computers and or computer cars are driving, I believe there should be less accidents. So this is a fail of the whole system itself, right? And so that's just something to keep your eye on. Here's a look at the app for the YouTubers. I guess it's Robo Taxi. I could just call it Tesla Ride or something. I don't know. I'm not a marketer, but just seems a little bit interesting interface. And it's going to be interesting. If I get a chance, and if I'm in one of those cities, I would certainly try it out. Because again, autonomous vehicle driving is interesting. Let's go to the next story. Why massive mergers are unwinding. The buzzwords that accompany corporate mega mergers, synergy, efficiency, economies of scale, have been replaced by a more different sentiment. Disappointing. Frustrated investors have driven a series of high-profile breakups. The Wall Street Journal reports from Warner Bros. To Keurig to Kraft Heinz, many conglomerates are splitting into their component parts. In some cases, the mergers didn't provide the anticipated cost reductions, and others underperforming segments served as a drag. The result is a 23% increase year over year in deal activity. Interesting. So companies that have done these large mergers that were touting efficiency, synergy, economies of scale, all these different things when they do the investment banking pitch books and pitch these mergers are not coming through. And people are saying that they're now trying to split those segments back apart and say we don't need this. Let's just make it more streamlined and more efficient and focused and niche on what we were doing before. That makes a lot of sense to me. Sometimes people just, if you have capital, if you're a large company, you're not growing. Sometimes you just get that appetite to grow, and the only way you could do it is inorganically by buying another company. But then you kind of talk yourself into it with all these buzzwords, but they may or may not come to fruition, and sometimes they don't. And so that's why you're seeing those companies start to pull back. You got regulators that are being tough. Integration hurdles, combining operations, talent, and technology across global organization often proves harder than the deal math suggests. I would agree with that. Market shifts, that's always going to happen. They should project and account for that. Mega deals aren't dead, but you're seeing that the playbook is changing. The playbook happens to be changing for these mega deals. So that's something to look out for. We talked about the hiring slowdown. This is another article that highlighted it. I wanted to see the part where it showed job openings. If we can get to that, payroll goes. All right, I don't see the job openings portion that I saw. Jolt's report showed job openings. So yeah, there was a report. The Jolt's report showing job openings at the lowest level in nearly a year, taking together the data described labor market that is not just cooling but broadening its slowdown. So you're seeing job openings also contract, and the amount of people looking for jobs has increased. And so for the first time since 2021, you've had that people that are looking for a job, more of them than there are job openings. And so that's kind of incredible statistic to show what's happening in the labor market. And this is that chart here. If you see it, U.S. persons not in labor force who currently want a job. That's obviously people looking, and you see that amount here. It's starting to tick up right there here, and it's at the highest levels since roughly 2021, right? If you take this could be part of 2020. Roughly right here, we get to potentially 2021, and it's at those highest levels. So that's more for the YouTube chart, but there are again signs of that, and so we want to keep our eye on that. And also, I'm doing my content. I did a little blurb on TikTok about what you do if you lost a job, if you know someone who has. So again, keep up with that content because we're spitting facts and quick tips on there. Instagram finally hits iPads. This is just interesting to me. It may not be interesting to anyone else, but it's a development 15 years in the making. On Wednesday, Instagram finally released an app built specifically for the iPad, but in a notable change for the mobile app, Instagram for iPad will open directly to the Reels feed, perhaps in a bid to win users from an endangered rival, the TikTok. The Verge suggests Instagram users spend more than 20% of their app watching Reels, and Meta is eager to get an even bigger foothold in competitive short form video market. Interesting. So I always wondered why there wasn't an app for Instagram on the iPad when it came out a long time ago, and I tried to download it on the iPad. I'm like, why isn't there one? But there is one now, and interesting enough, they're making it push towards Reels because they're trying to again capture that short form video content market, which TikTok has a huge grip on. And now Instagram is doing it and they're doing it through the iPad. Interesting. I think it's a good play. I don't know how many people use their iPad. I have one, have a couple use them. Um, but yeah, I think that's a smart move. And I was curious on why it was never there before, but now we have the answer. Now we have the answer, and it is coming to the iPad 15 years later. Another story I thought record number of retirement savers are now 401k or IRA millionaires. Retirement 401k balance is have bounced back in the second quarter of 2025, hitting a new record according to Fidelity's latest report. The number of 401k millionaires also jumped 16% to an all-time high. Retirement account balances, which fell at the start of the year due to the volatility in the market, bounced back in the second quarter. According to the latest data from Fidelity Investments, the nation's largest provider of 401k saving plans. The average 401k balance jumped 8% from a year earlier to 137,000, a record high. Fidelity found the average individual retirement account balance also rose 5% year over year to 131,000. The number of 401k IRA millionaires hit an all-time high. The number of 401k accounts with a balance of 1 million or more jumped to 595,000 as of June 30th, up 16% from the first quarter. The number of IRA millionaires up 16% to a record 501,000. So again, it's just showing what the market's done, what saving does, what strong plan does, and and this again the last few times besides 2022, the last few times besides 2022 that we've had a market pullback, the recovery has been incredibly quick, right? It's usually supposed to take a bit of time, and that's what 2022 did. But all the time, beginning of this year, the recoveries are quick. And so the panicking for people is not usually behold well for them. If you can just stay the course, not panic, you'll usually see good things. You'll usually see good things occur. Let's get to our question of the week. Before we do that, remember on TikTok, I've been showing some interesting data, some interesting videos. And so make sure you tap in with that and reach out to me if you need anything in regards to those topics. Let's look at for today our question of the day. What is the average amount of money that families plan to spend on back to school items? It's back to school for people across the country. It's fall, which I love summer, so it's turning into fall is kind of crazy to think, but it is fall. But what is the average money amount of money that families spend or plan to spend on back to school items? I don't know. I would say what 400, $500. How does this all work? And the answer is $885. $885 that people plan to spend on back to school items. Get some shirts. The first day outfit's really important, right? The first day outfit has to be fresh. You got to get them shirts, shoes. Was it shorts they would wear or pants? I wasn't a big shorts guy. I'm more of a pants guy, right? Man, we got to see our back to school photos for back then. That was, middle school, what you were wearing, the back throwback jersey. If you're really cool, you might wear it backwards, the name on the front. You remember back then. Next question. What percentage of borrowers currently have a payment due on their student loans are behind payments? I think I saw the stat. Was it 30 to 40% if I'm not mistaken? Oh, answer is 24%. Nearly one out of every four borrowers. So we've talked about, again, I had a TikTok on student loans. So make sure to tap into that as well if you want some quick tips, or if you're a client of mine, just reach out to me. We have 450 some, 60 some clients worldwide. So make sure you reach out to me and get help when needed. Folks, this is the episode this week. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. Stay connected. We do this every week. We will talk next week.